I mean, Nahim Heinz has been somebody that I've drafted a lot of, and I took him in two different drafts. I had simultaneous drafts going on last night, and I took him in both drafts almost at the same time, around the same round, which is typically around round 6 or around 7 or round 8 for me in PPR.
Wow.
No, I should say round 8 or round 9.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm aggressive with him. I'm excited about his opportunity. I think we're going to see him get back to that at minimum. If he stays healthy, he has 2 seasons with 63 catches. One was his rookie year with Andrew Luck. One was 2020 with Phillip Rivers. I do think he has a chance to be north of 70 catches. You told me this, I'm sure doing your notes about Michael Pittman and his target rate, his target percentage in the preseason. I really do think that Nahim Heinz is going to be second on the team in receptions, and I don't know if it's going to be close. I think it's going to be Pittman by a decent margin, Heinz by a decent margin, 2/3, and then Alec Pierce and Paris Campbell and maybe Mo Alley Cox competing for 3, 4, and 5. This is what Matt Ryan does. He likes to throw to his backs. He's going to throw to him. They're going to use him a lot. They're going to use him in tandem on the field at the same time with Jonathan Taylor. So if he can get back to the 6 touchdown threshold that he had in 2020, you're going to feel comfortable starting him on a weekly basis as at least a flex in PPR. So if you go about your build, heavy receiver, hero RB, zero RB, this should absolutely be one of your targets for sure.
So how do you compare Nahim Heinz? And by the way, the stat Jamie was mentioning was that Michael Pittman had a 35% target share with Matt Ryan during the preseason, which would be, which would lead the NFL. 35% target share. No other Colt had more than a 12% target share. But how do you, in full PPR, decide between Nahim Heinz and guys like Devin Singletary, Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard, Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny? Is he after those guys or what? Or in the mix?
I have him ranked after those guys, but I don't typically draft those guys because I'm usually looking at wide receiver at that point. And so again, it's also knowing who you draft with, because I know, like, for me, I don't think a lot of people, if they're looking at projections, are necessarily looking at Heinz or other rank lists. If people like to use Dave's rank list, for example, he's a little bit lower on him. Heath and I are kind of in a similar range. So depending on how you use our draft board, but if you use other draft boards, and we have these conversations, I would assume fantasy analysts at other sites are having these conversations. Oh, I play on Yahoo. I don't see these guys ranked as high as you have them. Well, that's because I like them better than their projections or their other analysts. Right. ESPN, same thing. NFL, same thing. It's a matter where you play and how you take advantage of it. Again, people do that with our site as well. Totally understandable. So for me, it's my roster construction and when I like to, buy into certain guys. So obviously, if Miles Sanders hits, he's going to be better than Nahim Heinz. If Rashad Penny hits, he's going to be better than Nahim Heinz. You can't approach it that way. Mm-hmm. But in terms of what I know what I'm getting from Nahim Heinz, I'm pretty comfortable with that. And then as we saw in their first preseason game when Taylor didn't play and Heinz did, it was all Nahim Heinz on those opening drives. And if that happens and he's the backup to Taylor from a carry standpoint, my goodness, he could be top 15, top 10, based on how this team likes to use their backs. He's excited about Isaiah McKenzie. If Jamison Crowder makes the final roster, I'm curious to see how that's all going to work for McKenzie. Will he have this role completely? If he screws up at any point, will they go to Crowder because you know what you're getting in Crowder? And then Khalil Shakir as well, what will happen there? So McKenzie's injury is certainly one to monitor. But basically where you're drafting McKenzie is free. I don't know how many people want to draft him in non-PPR. I think he's a borderline guy in half PPR, but in full PPR, he should absolutely be on your radar.
All right, so Dave gave you Lawrence and Tua, Khalil Herbert, Raheem Mostert, Mike Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, David Njoku. Jamie's sleepers, Kirk Cousins. Cousins going just ahead of Lawrence, Tua, Ryan Winston, Ryan Tannehill, Justin Fields. So that group. So he's after Aaron Rodgers, after Derek Carr. Yeah, he's like the last of the, we kind of know what we're going to get. But you think Cousins has potential to be really good. And the stats bear it out. When Thielen is healthy and Jefferson is Jefferson, over the last year and a half, basically, Cousins has been so good. So
now you have more Osborne. You have Irv Smith back. I mean, he's just got
and a different
unbelievable receiving core.
That's going to be less run heavy, you'd think. Nahim Heinz you already talked about. So then let's talk about 3 wide receivers late that you gave me. These 3 sleepers. How do you rank them? Josh Palmer for the Chargers, KJ Osborne for the Vikings, and Nico Collins for the Texans.
Collins is ahead of them because his role is solidified. He's going to be the number 2 guy behind Brandon Cooks. And I think as we've seen in the preseason, you know, Davis Mills will lean on him, and he's got an opportunity, I think, to be kind of like what a poor man's Michael Pittman was last year in his second season. I don't think he's going to reach those heights because Brandon Cooks is there, but if Cooks misses any time, then he's in a great spot. God, this is just amazing watching these emails coming.
Oh my gosh.
But I think if the other two guys, in terms of Palmer and Osborne, get starting roles, and unfortunately it would probably be due to an injury, you saw it with Osborne last year. He was great whenever Adam Thielen was out, and even in some cases when Thielen was still there. You know, he didn't have a plethora of targets all the time, but he certainly has the chance to be the type of guy that you just stash at the end of your bench and see what happens. And the same thing with Palmer. You know, we saw that for him at the end of last season also. You know, when he got a chance to play more, you've heard nothing but rave reviews. If Keenan Allen, probably more so than Mike Williams, but if either one misses time, I think we're going to see those two Palmer step into, you know, a bigger role. And think about what you're attaching these guys to. You're attaching one to Justin Herbert, which is easy. You're attaching the other one to what we all expect to be a more explosive offense in Minnesota. So I like the upside for both those guys. You know, again, like I said about Zamir White, I don't like to leave my draft without taking a chance on one of these guys if I have the opportunity to. So if you go receiver heavy, like I did this one draft last night where my first round pick was Jamar Chase. I got Barkley in round 2. And then I went Pittman and Cortland Sutton and Brandon Cooks with my next 4 picks. I loved how that worked out. You know, so my first 5 picks were 4 receivers and a running back. So what did I start doing next? I started getting running backs. And then when you factor in quarterback and tight end, it was, okay, what type of receiver can I get at the end of my draft? I took a shot on Marcos Valdes-Scantling ahead of those guys, but this is the type of receiver that I'm looking for as that 5th option. You know, who can be a lottery ticket type of guy? I felt MVS, you know, if you want to put him in the sleeper category, he's ahead of those guys.
Yeah, should be. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Should be in that category.
Yeah, so MVS is ahead of those guys. But, you know, again, same theory. You know, what are you attaching yourself to? You're attaching yourself to a great quarterback, great system, great opportunity.
Yeah. Collins, by the way, is like 6'4", ran a 4.40, 4.440. He's a really good athlete. You don't love his quarterback, but you love the talent and should be number 2 in targets for the Texans. I'm excited. You guys have really gotten me excited to draft Nico Collins. Love the sleeper call there.